Shalom.
Okay. Hello, America. How y'all doing out there? This is your boy Rick Moon. I know y'all ain't heard from me in a while, but hey, I'm still around. And tonight, I know we on the mind side of the moon, which I know y'all haven't heard in a while. But tonight on the mind side of the moon, we're gonna have the creator of the group African Americans Ain't African, Mr. Kerry Davis, and we're gonna get into just a regular discussion, about what's going on and all that, and hopefully everybody out there who's listening going to enjoy what we have to talk about tonight. So with that, how you doing, Kerry?
Oh man, everything is cool, man. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm good. Before we get into the talk, I just want to give a little history. Myself and Kerry here, we've had a relation for over 30 years. As a matter of fact, it started across the Atlantic. We met each other in England, and then the friendship went on from there. So uh, I've been fortunate to been able to know him. As a matter of fact, I have to give him credit for putting me on and getting me onto this platform and helping me get these 11 fans that I got. So give yourself a hand for that, brother. But like I said, we go back over 30 years, and hopefully we'll be able to have keep that bond going for another 30 years. So with that, what you got going on these days, Kerry, indigenous one, or if I can call you that?
Yeah, you can call me that. You know, just in the middle of this coronavirus nonsense and just watching our reaction through that and watching how we're behaving with that and just watching how, you can see how people can change our identity all the time because we normally fall for anything. Anything, we look like fools walking around with these masks on. And we don't
Mm.
say nothing. I mean, well, some people do. A few people say something about it, but the most part, you see us, whatever somebody tells us to do, if it means killing us, we'll do it happily.
Yes, it seems that way sometimes. It seems that way sometimes. Well, let's get into the meat of this thing. Uh, I wanted to talk to you about the progression. Everything that's been going on, like the progression of the group. How you got started and all of that. Could you kind of give us a little briefing on how this thing got started with African Americans Ain't African?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I started off like everybody else, but I started asking questions because I was listening to those cats, when we were coming up, that Afrocentric piece, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark. So I started
Mm-hmm.
noticing when I would go see these cats and start asking questions, I'd be put out. You ask a simple question like, well, where are the ships? Simple stuff. If you're telling me, because when I first heard this African story, it was right around the time Alex Haley came out. They had a cat named Stokely Carmichael who stole the Black Panthers name from the people down in Lowndes County, Alabama, to take it over to Oakland. Make sure we talk about the Black Panthers later, because a lot of people got some misconceptions about them. And when you ask a couple of questions, you see right off that, oh, that was bullshit too. But
Oh,
anyway,
you know what? You just said something that I didn't know. I didn't know that they got that name from Alabama. So yeah, that's something that I didn't know.
hmm and so I mean, and that's one thing, brother. One thing about the African American, they never know nothing. That's one of the things when they moved them from black, because it's a progression, because they're erasing the indigenous people off the planet. So you
Right.
don't do that in one fell swoop, because you'll have a reaction from the people. You do it incrementally. So it might take you 100 years to get it done, and we damn near there now, and we'll get into that a little later. So
Hmm.
they'll change your identity. They won't call you whatever you called yourself, and that's where again we always get stuck. Oh, I'm from the Choctaw Nation. Brother, your people didn't call themselves Choctaw. They had their own language, and they spoke in their language. They put a name out there, that what they spell, what they come up with, and then have you calling it. That's when the breakdown goes down. All these names are like that. You can see that where that happened with the Washita people. Washita people up in the Arkansas mountains,
Hmm.
they don't they don't pronounce their names like that. But then you will get a Negro
Right.
who just join a group, and that's what they'll start calling themselves. They will usurp that people's name, come up with all kind of history that they've learned behind it, and attach it to those people. And that's how we get wiped out. And this is important. We're the main ones leading the forefront in it.
Yeah, I
Especially
agree.
especially what you call black men.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we one of these days, we're gonna get into that too. Uh, before we get back to what's going on out there, I just wanted to ask you about where did you get the idea of African Americans ain't African, and and how did you come up with that, and and the process, and and just how you can even work all the way up to how it's going today.
No, because it was we're not. When you start asking questions, where's the ships? And so I was asking people like Dr. Ben. I was asking
Mm,
people like John Henry Clark, and they would all get mad. And I'm like, and this is what I find out. Whenever you ask a Negro a question and they get mad, they don't know what the hell they talking about. They just repeating some dumb shit that they heard.
right.
And so now I'm like, so, my mom lives in the Caribbean. So she's not from there. She just moved down there because she said the Negroes up here in America, and I guess she's seen it for a while. She said, they're finished. And at the time she told me, I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Keep on living. And I went down there, and so when the story of Africans coming over here, one of the main points that they went to was the Caribbean. It's called a triangular slave trade. They
Right,
went,
right.
yeah, they went to the Caribbean. And so I'm down in the Caribbean, and I'm island hopping, going to all these islands, and I'm asking the people, the Rastas, the people who are into that Afrocentric culture. I'm like, well, where are the slave ships that brought all these Negroes over here?
Hmm.
And nobody had an answer. Well, then all of a sudden, I just started thinking and looking at maps and stuff. I'm like, there's then another question I asked, because Stokely Carmichael, let's get back to Stokely Carmichael, because he was the really one that busted it open.
Right.
He said that they took 300 million Africans from Africa and brought them over here. And at the time I was young, I didn't understand what 300 million was. I'm like, 300
Right.
million, that's how many people live here in America. So you took that many people from a place, and they're still one of the most populous nations, one of the regions on the planet, talking about the west coast of Africa. You took
Right.
all
I got you.
you took all those people from there, and they still populating. If you took that many people from anywhere, that place would be a desert by now, because you have no people there on the land. They're not reproducing babies,
Mm.
and so they
And
die.
and to kind of make a point on that, uh, you could go back and you can research and you can try to find out what the population was over in Africa during these times. And I'm telling you, you good. You are a genius if you can find the population of Africa before 1800. or
Yeah,
let's say 1750.
yeah. I mean, simple stuff, dude. I mean, and I be wondering, are we this dumb to believe this? Because there was really nobody when that root stuff came out. Everybody was pushing it. I mean, there was a few. I had a few people, my aunts, grandmother, and all of them. They were like, "Oh, that's bullshit."
Right,
But and I don't know what it is because I was caught up into it too. The stuff your grandmother tell you as you grow up, you try to move away from that because you try to be in the in crowd, and you be like, "Oh, she don't know what she talking about. She old." That's what a
right,
lot of us say. And then no, it ain't that. They know exactly what they talking about. You don't know what you talking about. And that's how the separations of the generations take place. We won't listen to
right,
our grandparents, our parents. We'll listen to some stranger on the street who sounds very articulate and knows all the words and blah, 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 blah. We'll go with
right.
that instead of what our grandmothers and grandfathers said.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man. Because I always told people, why would your mother, your grandmother, why would they lie to you? And why, if they knew anything about Africa, they would tell you. They have
Yeah,
no reason to lie to you.
right.
You know, that's
And
the you know that's the point I was making.
yeah, and then we have all these groups. Imagine all of the subgroups that we put ourselves in. Imagine if that was just one group of people. Do you understand the damage? You could have a so-called indigenous political party that would kill, but we don't even think of that. And these are your professors, all your people who got all these PhDs and this paperwork. You're gonna see how they've been used to straight destroy us. And I always tell any one of them, step up.
Mm,
Where were the black doctors during this coronavirus thing telling us that this is bullshit? They didn't do it because they have jobs. And the Negro, for a job, the Negro will do anything. We don't
right.
have we have no hospitals. We don't deliver our own baby. Man, we don't do nothing. But we try to stand up with our fist in the air like we talking about something. And we not talking about nothing. And
That's
then,
correct.
then, and then what happens? The women fall in love with these idiots, have babies, make more idiots, and keep the
Hmm.
cycle going. That's how it's done.
Right. Hey,
And yeah, man, it's really when you look and see what happened,
hmm
it's simple. We shouldn't even be in this position because we're in this position because we want to be in it.
I agree. I agree. Uh, since we into this, I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think about these old ideologies of the past that to me have not worked in our favor or worked for us at all? Could you elaborate on that? And what I mean is, like all these different religions, like Christianity, Islam, the Moors, the Afrocentric, the Hebrew Israelites, people that with those ideologies are. Could you kind of elaborate on what you think about that and how it's affecting our people?
Okay, listen, dude, this is real simple. Dude, this is simple. This is more simple than blowing your nose. So all those groups you just named, I'm gonna show you something that is right in your face, and how we don't get it, bro. This is what I'm saying. We want to be in this position. So let's start with Christianity. When you open the Bible, page 1, you don't even got to go to page. You ain't even got to turn the page to 2. It tells
Mm-hmm.
you that two men create a woman.
Right.
Right there. If you don't see it, that means you can't read. That's all it means. And most of us
Right.
can't read. It tells you that two men create a woman. And I ask brothers, explain that. Well, brother, where are you? We always come up with some dumb shit to get out of it. Then because this is how I see it. We all come from women, females.
Right.
We're all rooted to a female when we're born. This is not something I made up. This goes on.
Right.
We ignore that shit. We simply ignore it for a belief. So you have all these women arguing that men ain't shit and blah blah blah. You gave birth to them. They come from you. You teach them
True.
everything. You teach them everything. Huh? This is how twisted we are. So Christianity tells you that two men created a woman. Nobody to this day, it's 9/27 on May 8th. Nobody to this day hasn't said nothing. It's a homosexual relationship book. We'll get, and all you gotta do is read it. It tells Deuteronomy 7:1, kill them niggas. How do we get past that? How don't we know that? It tells you everything that's happened to you. It tells you right there. We praise and worship and blah blah blah. And you notice that Jesus has not appeared to save nobody during this coronavirus. So
Yeah, I kind of noticed that.
so it's like Stevie Wonder said. When you believe in things you don't understand, your ass suffer. And
That's
this is
right.
what's happening to us. And we've had people to give us all kind of warnings and clues all throughout the years. We just turned our backs on them. Islam. Simple question. Why would you jump into an ideology that's from Pakistan? Yeah. I mean, damn, y'all. Really? Why would you? What was the religious beliefs and ideology of your people, the people here in Americas? It'll blow you away because you talked about it earlier with that of nature. We don't
Right.
even we're so devoid of nature. We hate it. Right or wrong?
Oh, you absolutely right.
We listen. You're in the middle of a country that's broke, that normally uses the Negro. All you're used for is to make this work. You're the oil that keeps this going. The Negro hasn't said to themselves, seeing all this going down with this pandemic, where a lot of people lost their savings when the stock market crashed. A lot of people lost their 401ks. As a group of people, knowing the powers they have, you have heard nobody say, not T.D. Jakes, not Louis Farrakhan, not Eric Michael Dyson, not all these people love to kiss in the mouth. You know what, you
Mm-hmm.
guys? Let's take what we've done and let's go back to our places where our parents were born, where our people are from, and let's start building ourselves from there. A simple, we have brothers who are out of work. We have people who need jobs. We can start building for ourselves. The so-called black man, they don't think like that. They don't think at all. When thinking was taken out of the indigenous people when they moved from black to African American. See, when they were called black folks, they were thinking. When they were called black people, they were thinking. When the
Mm-hmm.
African American was created, thinking was taken out of the deal. Have them not thinking at all, ever.
Right. Right. So what
Who
about the
else?
Moors and the Afrocentrics and all these
Uh,
other groups, the Hebrew
dude,
Israelites?
dude. These are just beliefs we get into because we don't want to do nothing. We're scared of
Mm-hmm.
what, and we don't want to do nothing. That's why we go in all these biblical beliefs, all this stupid Afrocentrics. Who was the cat? It was the cat we did a program on about 8 years ago. The dude, he was with a stripper. I mean the Afrocentrics thing. He called himself the king of Pan Africanism
Oh,
or
you talking
something.
about Umar Johnson?
So remember we did that piece on him,
Right.
and a lady asked me recently, "How did you know that long ago?" And I'm like, "Listen to what he says."
That's right.
All when you and that's what I mean. Our communication skills are twisted because We don't even listen to each other. We go by how a person sounds. We don't go by what he says. So if a person sounds, aha, and you know Jesus went down to the river, aha. See, that's get our panties wet. That's what we like.
Right.
We don't listen to what they say. So when this cat said Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass Academy, they had two opposing views.
Correct.
That's how you knew he was full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Two opposing, common sense. You're not going to name something the Adolf Hitler Martin Luther King Memorial.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? This is the kind of shit we believe.
Mm-hmm.
Dumb.
Yep.
And
Also,
hold on, and listen, but this is something about him that this I don't believe that people donated 700,000 to him. I believe that's what's put out, but I
uh-huh.
don't believe in this day, and this is just me. I know it's like that. I know the stuff we do is dumb on a major scale.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, because so when I think of us, I think of brothers have their own car company manufacturing their own cars that don't use gasoline. We come
Right.
up with the ideas. We come up with the technology. You know, that's why I try to tell everybody what you say. And you'd be surprised how many people don't say nothing, don't even think they can speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way we've been trained. The Hebrew Israelite, the Moors, and you notice it's always some foreign ideology that we're bringing up.
Right.
You know, you got to notice that it's always some ideology that comes from across the world, and we swallow it up. Um, and part of that reason is the same reason when we can go back to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was an asshole, and we
Mm-hmm.
worship and the Negro worships him like he was a god.
Right.
Well,
He
man,
also
why
got
you
ran
say
out of Jamaica.
right? I mean, he gonna say you from Africa. Why did he say that? Why did he say that to the Jamaicans? I'm sure he did, and they kicked his ass out. Dude, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
What do? We do what we do every time. Believe if they told you a rat could fly an airplane, what you call an African American would believe it.
Right.
I mean, they just say anything, and yeah, we believe it. We'll find some way to make it work. That's why we're valuable to them. Whatever they say, our love and adoration is so high for them, we will make it work, right or wrong.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Hey, so what do you think about because I'm hearing a lot about the numbers of the so-called African Americans are really decreasing, have decreased over the years. Could you kind of talk about some of the I understand these ideologies is part of it too, but what other factors you think have had something to do with this decrease over the years?
Uh, the major factor number one is we don't count ourselves. We leave that to other people, so they can tell you you're 3, 4, 5% of the population, and the dumb Negro. Well, yeah, boss, you right, and let me put emphasis on that dumb part because you have no idea. And I'm not talking about the people who you would every day think, like the poor people. I'm talking about these are people in positions of great influence.
Right.
Great influence. I was visiting, and this is just an example. And this is not saying nothing about the person, but this is just saying how we are. I just recently saw a piece, I forget where I was. It was about Shaquille O'Neal reviving Papa John's Pizza after the owner of Papa John dude could have been the guy that shot that cat whenever they showed that video. The,
Yeah.
the,
Okay.
the,
I know what you're talking about.
you see what I'm saying? These are the people that make your food. These are and you cool with it. You don't care. You rather argue and bullshit and lie each other than to do something for yourself. This is where the African American is, right or wrong.
You check.
So, so your what your question was again? I just had to put that in there. What was your
Oh,
question again?
I was talking about other factors that's
Right, right.
uh,
Okay, okay,
contributing to our decrease.
okay. Here's one that we don't pay attention to. These people, where do you go in the world? And please, you know what? Where do you go in the world where the indigenous people are only 13% of the population?
I would say nowhere.
There's nowhere in the world you go where the indigenous people are the lowest, or 13% of the population. Since we think we're all these groups, subgroups that we don't even identify with the indigenous people here.
Mm,
So your numbers are way higher than they say they are. Now, they have been dwindling over the years because of the stupid shit that we be doing.
hmm.
Uh, so remember this. Okay, so when the people got here, remember how our people first got into the cities? We weren't
Right,
living in the cities. These people were given charters to start their cities to trade. We
right,
weren't living in those cities. We was living on the land. So, like they always do, they get a couple of us to come and make real high and popular, like they doing better than the people who live on the land. Those people will influence the people on the land. Hey, come and get a job. You can get a job, shining shoes or whatever. That's how we got into the cities. When you look at the places that the indigenous people had built prior to these people got here, you will piss your pants. They so bad. And
mm.
shame on us because we don't even go see them.
Uh,
I want to go
hey,
to the movies. This is where we are. You
oh,
won't, we
oh,
won't, we won't even go look at the places we built.
hmm.
We won't even take a trip on the Mississippi. We won't do nothing because we don't think it's ours. So
Right. Hey,
that's
before
what.
you
Go
ho-
ahead.
ho- ho- hold on for a sec, before you continue, I just want to let everybody that's out there listening and to the show that going across the screen, you see the number that you can call in if you have a question for the indigenous one or for myself. As I say again, the number is going right across the screen. All you gotta do is just call in, and we'll see if we'll do our best to answer your question. All right, go ahead and continue. Sorry about that.
So that's it. Other factors that's decreasing our numbers. Uh, we're being wiped out every time a tree is chopped down. One of us will die. I hope you
Mm-hmm.
guys hear that. Every time a tree is chopped down, one of us will die. This is why it's important for us to stay close to nature. This is why it's important for us to trust nature. This is why us support nature. And many of us are so scared of nature, it'll blow your mind.
Right, right. And speaking of nature, uh, we were talking about before the show about because I'm up here in Charlotte and you're down there in Birmingham, and for this time of the year, which is actually the middle of spring. As a matter of fact, we're almost close to the backside to where summer's coming in, and the temperatures right now, as a matter of fact, right now outside it's a little chilly out there. That's why I came in here. uh, so and so it seems to me that a lot of this has to do with the weather patterns, and I think that all goes back to nature. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? You there?
Yeah. I mean, so you seeing it.
Right.
So this is what I'm saying. All this stuff that we know, this is not. I mean, yeah, we had people pull our coattail and teach us certain things, but as a species on this planet, it's your job to be curious all the time. That's taken out of us by the time we're 10 years old. We're
Right.
curious. So you noticing that in the middle of spring, when it's normally hot, the pollen's falling, everybody's trying to get ready for the summer. The girls putting on they looking cool for the summer. It's about to be on. It's freezing. You
Mm-hmm.
notice that. You know, but we don't notice the temperature change. We don't notice the snow is not melting. We don't know the water's poison. We don't know that they're spraying us overhead. Man, I ask these questions to people all the time. I never seen no chemtrails. Dude, they spray every day. You know what? They don't. You know what this cat told me one time?
Mm.
Man, I don't be looking up there. Huh? Yeah, no, serious. When I say the majority of us, I mean 50.1%.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
way
that's
too many.
started.
That's way too many. Other factors of our numbers going down. This homosexuality thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell with us how fake it is because we're in it, knowing how damaging it is. Two dudes can't make no babies, so you're being killed. Oh, and you kill yourself off. Let's not forget that's first and foremost. You just
Right.
don't kill you. So check this out, and this is where we really get screwed up at. You just don't kill. You just don't get rid of a person. You get rid of the person that person would have created and the people they were created and so forth. So just imagine if my grandmother was killed
Mm-hmm.
in one of these wars, and my grandmother had 13 kids. All of those kids had children. That whole bloodline is wiped out, plus all the grandkids from them kids. This
That's
is
right.
what this is how our numbers are being wiped out because we don't look forward. We just the furthest we look is the next check.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Amen.
That's we look we that's as far as we look as the next check.
Mm-hmm.
That's how
And,
so when I say we're trained, that's what I mean.
mm-hmm. Right. Right. And mention another thing that's helping our demise is this is all of this abortion type deals and stuff like that, not wanting to have children, you know.
Well,
And I
right.
mhm. and I think that a lot of that is due to uh basically it's all due to patriarchy, you know, because that's, you know, once patriarchy came, once the European brought patriarchy over here, everything changed. And I'm still going to do a show about that because I think one of the problems that we another problem that we have is we don't know our true history or the truth of what really happened back in those days. The thing we picked up from foreigners in their schools, you know. But and when you find out what really happened, it's easy to figure out. You can just use your common sense, you know. And that's another thing about nature. If you know nature, you will see these. You will see these. And Anybody, you know, people in the chat, you can also, if you have any questions, you can also ask them too. And I just want to give a little message, you know, from the chat coming from Nicole Allen. Allen, it says, then they use the fetus for science to heal their people, which I think is very correct. You want to elaborate on that, indigenous one?
Yeah, they get you to kill yourself so they can live. It's simple. It's simple, dude. It's simple. I mean, we don't be hearing the stem cells, and we didn't hear about that doctor in Philadelphia. They say this dude was doing abortions that were you couldn't have made this up. He was a Negro doctor in Philadelphia doing heinous abortions,
Mm-hmm.
and this is our outlook on life. How we look at life is it's dumb. Everything is to make life perfect. We do the opposite. So here's an example. Know a young man. I mean, he's been an asshole since he was 2 years old, and he got the support system behind him. Families doing, they're working class people, but they're smart, so they make shit happen. And I told him, I said, man, you a young male that people will bend over backwards to help you. All you got to do is be right, be courteous, be nice. Fuck you, and I do what I want to do. Okay,
Mm,
so okay, so now he's at the age now where he's 17. He didn't graduate high school,
mm-hmm.
and he's about to be put out his mama house because seriously, I understand why a lot of brothers are like this. I know they're being poisoned in the food. So I tell them, mama, don't buy that juice drink shit. Make them drink water.
Right.
Get them. You got to teach these kids something when they're young. You just can't let them fall into the TV and the video. You gotta give them something that's gonna spark their interest. Like basketball sparks a lot of these cats' interest. Some of these cats take basketball for real, or any other
Mm-hmm.
sport, or any other sport. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but that's how we should be.
Right.
Now
Right.
this cat is about. He's 18. He's about to be 18, and his mama keeps saying, I until he's 18, he's mine. So now he's about to be 18.
Mm-hmm.
And my words to him was just, brother, you about to learn the hard way. And you see a whole lot of young men out here on the corner, out here walking down the street. And when you see us walking down the street, we try to look the shittiest we can look. Pants sagging down, ass
Mm-hmm.
showing, shit in your pants, dumb, ain't got your shirt on. I mean, your pants sagging, so you got to walk a certain way to hold up your pants when you walk. That's a program to rid the earth of these people. And if
That's
you
right.
think and if you think I'm lying, all you have to do is watch their TV shows, what they're projecting to themselves. These most of these TV shows aren't for you. They aren't for us because they're
Mm.
showing you here in America a future without your black ass. They're not. You won't even be here. This is
Mm.
what they're projecting, and guess who's helping them achieve that goal?
Would it be us?
We're the first in line, and arrogant about it.
Right.
So I hope this whole corona thing has got people to look at stuff a different way. You're not doing nothing. I'm seeing a lot of people are showing me their moms. They're about in their 70s and 80s. You
Mm-hmm.
know what the reoccurring theme is of all the women that are older? They all bald headed. They're
Right.
all bald. They're all bald headed. Why are they bald headed? This is shit we better know.
Right. Right.
And it goes back to what you were saying about the weather patterns, how they change and stuff. Man, we being wiped out of here so quick. They're changing the environment, and so you got to change the people. Since they're bringing new people over here, you have to have an environment that's conducive to how they live,
Right.
not conducive to how you live. And since I'm talking about the African American, you've already shown that life, you really are not thriving to live. And I'm not saying everybody, because it's a bunch of brothers and sisters out there that's doing some shit that is mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority, brother, they don't even care.
Mm. Hey, that brings up another question. You was talking about the TV and all that stuff. I saw a article in African American African that, as a matter of fact, you posted. That was it was a little 10-minute clip about a movie called Yellowstone. I don't know if it's a series, a movie. I've never seen it, so I really don't know nothing about it. But I did look at that video, and I saw some interesting stuff in there, and we talked about it a little bit before the show. Could you explain a little bit about what you see in that movie and that our people should be aware of?
Yeah, it's a TV. You know how they do these series where people can watch a whole season in a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, oh man, this is the stuff we got to see. This is on Paramount TV. You can go online, you can go to YouTube and pull up. It's a 10-minute. It's a synopsis of season 2 of this show called what you say it was? Rick
Yellowstone.
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 You guys, you got to see this. You got to see this. And then you'll see how all this dumb shit we doing, trying to rob people, just being total disrespectful to each other. We're gonna get into that too. These people have already said, let's get rid of these niggas, because this is how they look at us.
Right. Hey, before you continue, I just want to, before you continue, go to the chat right quick. Eugene Page says, at Rick Moon, Henry Louis Gates helped screw us over this at home ancestral DNA test garbage as well. And yes, you're very correct in that, Eugene. As a matter of fact, I have a little show that's been ready for a while. It's not that very long, so it probably won't take me about 15, 20, 30 minutes to do this show. And I want to talk about Louis Gates and a talk that he gave about I think it was in 2010. So I'm gonna get into. I'm glad you remind me of that. Thanks, Eugene Page. I'm sorry, Indigenous one.
Yeah. The program called Yellowstone. Check it out. Just check out the little synopsis. It's on Paramount TV. So I know we're not really into that. We're into Paramount TV, but they're showing how these people, the land you live in. I don't give a damn if you live in what's the gated community. You're a peasant. You got to see how these people living on your land and how they're passing it down to generate. I mean, I'm talking about 300-400 acres of your land, and they're saving it for they're and when you see how they're raising their kids up on the land, they're intertwining their kids into your land. But you want to kill each other, call your women bitches, fuss and fight over. This is where we're at today. They're projecting the future. That's what they're projecting, their future. With what they're doing, with what you're doing, where you think you're going to end up in 40 years. Where you and you know, and I don't mean nothing by this, but I see this a whole bunch of time. See, we like to say, oh, they did such and such and such. Yeah, motherfucker, they doing that shit. What we doing about it? They cold-blooded. Yeah. Just bitching and complaining about it is not doing. Everybody hands better be on deck.
Right.
But seriously, because you talking about a genocide? The world hates you. You see what China's doing to the sisters who are dumb enough. They put up shower curtains, wear masks, and these Negroes in there getting their nails and feet done. I saw that shit, man. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. This is where we are. And so those people, what purpose do they serve? Let's get rid of them. And I always like to remind everybody of the Georgia Guidestones. Go check out the Georgia Guidestones. All these foreigners over here, their homes over on the other side of the world, Europe, Asia, and Africa, is decimated. They've been digging and clawing and fighting over that for however long. Ain't nothing there no more. There's nothing there. Where do they come get their resources from? Here. You got national parks that are full. They got, if you just look at the national park map in America, it'll blow you away. But you killing each other because you can't sell crack to the cat in the red tennis shoe laces. Really?
Right.
This is where
Hey, and you know what else funny about that? They telling us over here about Africa and how many natural resources and all this stuff that's supposed to be over in Africa. Now they telling us that, and we going for it. But at the same time, they can't stay away from here.
Say that one more time.
They're telling us we're getting a lot of stuff, like when they was having that thing about go to Ghana, and they want you to come home,
Right.
and then you got all these people like all these Afrocentric and stuff talking about all the natural resources over in Africa and all of that, but everybody from over there coming here, but they telling us that we need to go over there. So if we need to go over there, why in the heck are they coming here?
And guess what we do while that's going on? Guess what the Negro does? The Negro advertises for it. The Negro spreads it around so everybody can do it. If
Right.
Africa, if you then this is to the African Americans. Those of you who call yourself African Americans, if Africa is so great, why are they fleeing their home? Just a question. We have and the first thing a Negro say, why you hate Africa? I don't hate Africa. Matter of fact, Patrice Lumumba is one of the coldest cats ever to me.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Hey, believe me, him, Thomas Sankara.
yeah, oh yeah, you have some African cats who've done some cold shit. Of course, they were killed, but they was like,
Right.
dude, we not living like this. And I think our disconnection from nature, and no, I'm sure of this, our disconnection from nature, our arrogant, we turn our nose up at it kind of arrogantly because we think somebody, a living person has something better to offer us than Earth. We're paying for that dearly.
Hmm. Yeah. Copper Color Lifestyles 94 says, at Nicole Allen, I was just having a conversation with my sister about that, and she said I was lazy because I refused to put that toxic, to, toxicity,
Oh,
whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying, on me.
yeah. So listen. So you have you. So this is what's being. This is how they get you. This is how they kill you out. Everybody knows about the fingernails that fake. That I mean, I don't even. So we're in 2000. We're in 2020, and we still don't even. We put it off. You go get your nails done. Like that makes you a better person. Now they
Mm,
got these things they got out now. These eyelashes. Cause if I've
right.
never seen nothing so dumb in my life. These,
Hey,
I
I got.
mean, these sisters got about 5 pounds of eyelashes. It's the funniest shit to see, dude.
Hey, I got a story for you. I got to tell you this. She's here, so I hope she ain't listening. But my niece, I have a niece, and very, very, very beautiful young lady. As a matter of fact, this was her last year. Uh, I'm sorry she won't be able to walk, but she's graduating this year. And I saw her coming on the street, and she had these eyelashes on. And I just told her, I said, you look like somebody I know. I said, as a matter of fact, she's prettier than you though, but she look a lot like you. And she's laughing, and she always, she tell me that's what her dad, that's what her dad tells her the same thing. But she's a very beautiful young lady, and she does not need those eyelashes. And I don't know why she wears them. But Indigenous Levy says it's like the West depends on Africa for all these fools leaving Africa, flooding here. We have been lied to for too long. Thanks for the bill. That's from Indigenous Levy. I hope I'm sorry if I butchered your name.
A lot of this stuff is on us. We always like to blame the white man and blah 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 blah. And no, it's on us. And sometimes you can either. I'll give you an example. Perfect example. It's like in the military. Most and this is for the men, but men and women. Most people get into the military because there's really nothing to do in these cities. There's only so few jobs. And so the military is like a job. You know, when you can't find a job or nothing, you can join the military for free. You can get paid. I mean, it's some real low paying shit, but you get in there and you can do something in the military. When you get into the military, there are some people, most people, when they get in the military, most people do their 4 or 6 years or whatever and get out. Only a few people stay in for 20 years. Why? Because most people hate it. Most people see what they're doing in the military and be like, man, I ain't going to kill nobody's family. What if somebody was over in America killing my family? Most people think that, so they don't do it and they don't stay in. Most
Right.
a lot of people stay in and make a career out of them, blah blah. And you know the military people in your family, you know, and we honor and support those people that are working for a system that makes sure we stay subjugated. That's
That's
how
right.
that's how twisted we are.
Yeah.
So the stuff that happens to us, we really can't say shit because we're in on it. It's just like the Buffalo Soldiers.
Right.
What's the Buffalo Soldiers' job? Their job was to help clear out the Midwest of the Indians in the Midwest, kill the food supply, do a whole bunch of heinous shit. We pat them on the back like they did a good job.
Mm.
That comes back on us.
Right.
You don't think you went to Vietnam? What the brothers tell you about Vietnam? What the Vietnamese say, brother? Why you over here fighting for
Hmm.
these crackers?
That's right.
What happened? What ended up happening? Vietnam sued the United States. Now they run the shrimping industry in most of your major cities. The Korean War. You went over
Hmm.
there and helped them smash up Korea, break up Korea. Now Koreans are over here selling you hair, and you support them
And doing your
happily,
nails.
and
Doing
and
your
will cut and will cuss somebody like me out if I say, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing? Fuck you, nigga! I can do whatever I want to do. You don't tell me nothing." This is where we are today. So when you look at
yeah.
that piece called Yellowstone,
Hmm.
look at what these people are doing, and then notice one thing: where are you? Where are you? Man, you got so much beautiful land over here in America. There's some land that you can walk on and you will come on yourself. That's how powerful the land is.
Oh
You got
yeah.
rivers, you got rivers and lakes in here. You bet not go near. That used to be your shit. You don't even know how to swim.
Hmm.
Won't even, won't, a baby's born in water, and you make him so citified, so urban. In 2 years, he's lost that ability to know how to swim. This
That's right.
this is where we are. So all that stuff that we do, we come on, stop bitching and complaining and saying other people doing stuff to us. I was talking to a sister today, and she posts stuff about uh, the domestic violence that's been going on since this coronavirus.
Right.
And when she brings that up, brothers like to get mad. And it's like, what you get mad for? Here you're beating up the women that gives life to all of us, but
Hmm.
you want to try to explain your way out of it. This is the
Hmm.
shit we do. So
Right.
what? So what's so? And it's a simple question because this is we don't ask because we don't ask no questions. We just do what we're told.
Hmm.
What is going to happen to those people? They're already
Right.
telling you right now. Let's get rid of these niggas. They in the way. They own land. They make too much noise. Let's get rid of them and bring the rest of our relatives over here to America, and we can populate the world from there. That's what's going on. So while you want to be gay and you want to do all this shit that doesn't make us grow, this is what they're doing.
Hmm.
And
Right.
all that I can do what I want to do. I'm me. Okay. Keep
Mm.
having that me. I keep having. You see where it's gotten you so far.
Right. Yeah. And I see, since we started the show and stuff, we kind of been all over the place, talking about different topics and stuff. But something just came to my mind. I wanted you to say something a little bit about also. Uh, our people seem to think that these I call them $4.99 Indians. I don't call them $5. They $4.99 to me. And our people seems to believe that those people are indigenous to the Midwest. And I know on numerous occasions we've explained, what happened in the Midwest. Could you kind of touch on that again? Because I think we have to be repetitious with this stuff because our people are not getting it.
The Midwest. If you go back, listen, if you go to African Americans Ain't Africans and go into photos, you're going to see images of you all over America. Remember, it wasn't no Nebraska, it wasn't no Ohio, it wasn't no Wisconsin. These are all new names that they put on it. It's our job. That's why I say go find your family. Find out where they lived. Find out where, most of them gathered, and you can start finding out stuff. This is simple. So we refuse to do that. So I forget the year. It was 1870 something.
62.
1862. Now check this out, y'all. 1862. The New York Times put out an article about some general going down to Kansas to get rid of the bushwhackers. Anybody who can read knows what a bushwhacker are. In today's term, they would be, you would call the people from the Caribbean who use machetes, bushwhackers. They're there to clear the fields. Also, if you look at a lot of people, you'll see that they come from the Midwest. But remember, at the time, it wasn't called the Midwest. Wyoming. How come we're depopulated in Wyoming, South Dakota, and stuff like that? This is where they bought the army in. They also bought the Buffalo Soldiers and wiped those people out. The Midwest used to be a forest.
Right.
The Midwest used to be a forest. The Amazon jungle just didn't stop in Brazil. It came all the way up here.
Right. And see, that's what I've been saying. We gotta start looking at, and I think this way we can see things better too. We gotta know exactly what the playing field was in those days. How was the land? What languages the people spoke? Different. What foods did they eat? Where did they gather their food from? All these types of things. You also have to know timelines. You got to know all these things to be able to put this stuff together sensibly, because what you have been told is not true by a long shot.
And all you have to do, seriously, is just look at it. Just look at how nature works. Every species on the planet does it, but us.
Right. And let me give you an example. Let me give people an example of what I'm saying. Okay, I know all of y'all remember the so-called Willie Lynch letter, right? That was supposedly written by some dude named Willie Lynch in Lynchburg, Virginia, back in 1712. That's over 300 years ago. Now, if you read the wording of the Willie Lynch letter, it tells you right there that letter couldn't have been written back then. If you look at the way it was worded, it was written in the 1960s by some African dude. I forget his name. But see, this is the type of stuff that they throw on us, and we just take it as it is. We don't look. Like I say, if you read that letter, people didn't write like that in those days. People didn't speak that way in those days. All that stuff is indicative of how we talk today in that letter, and we don't get it.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about how a lot of this stuff is on us, because we just don't get simple stuff. We don't. I mean, we will look, man, and that's why they call you the magical Negro because you breathe life into anything that is dead. You will waste 2 generations believing in some a lie somebody put out that don't have nothing to do. Here's an example. This is how simple it is. This is how twisted we are. So before they named you African American, you were called black. Now everybody know what the color black is. It's the color of your cell phone. Color your computer, your car, your shades, whatever. But when you get into the etymology of the word black, it doesn't mean anything. Which is what you're saying. You're not black. Most people are red. Most people are red in America are red, but you call yourself black when you're not black. What's that? That's some dumb shit that they put on us when they were taking you from Negro to black. So you notice that every generation they'll change up your identity just to confuse the children that are coming in and to separate the children from generations that were here prior. So it's like my mother was called a Negro, but her mother was called colored.
Mm-hmm.
You see how it's taken. You know how they separate that. So my mother was
Right.
so then they'll make the events change. So when my mother was a teenager, now she was moving into black because Negro. That sound like a coon. Don't call me no Negro. I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
So they put events to James Brown come out with a song, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. We
Right.
fall for it, even though this cat wore a perm.
Right.
This is the kind of shit we do. And all it is total confusion. And the mind is just controlled by other outside forces. And like I say, we better not open our mouths to complain about one thing because we support it all.
That's
You have
right.
all these Negroes. So now you'll see that if you in the so-called Negro here in America is not even represented. Most of the government, the Congressional Black Caucus, is foreign. And when I say foreign, I mean coming from the Caribbean. and
That's
and and
right.
yes, and yes, the Caribbean is part of America, but there is no way in hell I could go down to Jamaica and tell those people who they mama was.
That's
Any
right.
Anybody can come here and tell you your mama was a Zulu. Guess what you'll do? You'll call yourself Zulu. You ever see that? You ever see that picture? Do you ever see that skit? What was the brother name? He played on one of those doctor shows a long time ago, and he got
Mm,
and he got unceremoniously kicked off.
no.
When they get tired of you, they just get rid of you. This is brother, and he did
Mm.
that. The dude who says you from Africa, Henry Louis Gates.
Right.
Henry Louis Gates gave him one of those tests and said, "Your test say you're from, let's say Namibia. I don't know if that's the name. You're from Namibia." This dude acted a ass. Just start jumping up and down, doing back
Oh,
and
you're
forth.
talking about Isaac Washington. That's what you're talking about.
Dude, did you see that?
We started hollering and stuff.
I was like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. So those are the kind of things they use to get us. Because many of us look at people on TV as gods. Not all of us, but a large part of the population look at people like they're greater than them because they're on TV. See, a lot of
Right.
people look at Oprah Winfrey like she's God's second in command. Shit, and
Hmm.
Oprah Winfrey is fucking hooked up with Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
This is the kind of stuff that we support all the time. So we can't complain about what's going on because we're right smack dab in the middle of it.
Right. And speaking of smack dab in the middle of it, you know, I've seen some kind of disturbing things going on lately. In the indigenous community that wasn't going on when I first got into the indigenous studies. Uh, but it's been a lot of talk and jawing and people going at each other. Here lately, you know, about different type stuff like tribal stuff, um, uh, papers, sending out fake paperwork, and stuff like that. And it's kind of disturbing to me because it reminds me a lot of what's going on in the Afrocentric community right now. I mean, they just get out on the stage and they just go at each other and talk junk about each other. And I'm kind of seeing a little pattern in our community because I've been watching a few videos and I'm seeing people just tearing each other's head completely off, talking about this stuff. People accusing people of being snitches and people beating people out of their paperwork, and all this stuff. And it's funny because I think both sides actually got a point, to what they're saying. But to me, it's really getting to me because a lot of these people are going at each other. And what's funny about it, a lot of the people that's going at each other, they were actually, once upon a time, they were down with each other. So I don't understand that. And another thing, and this is what because I heard your name can't come up in a lot of these conversations too. And being that me and your relationship has been as long as it have, I was kind of worried about you. And as a matter of fact, when I talked to you the other day, I had to find out what was your part in all of this. And before I was satisfied, because although I didn't hear you say anything, I just kept hearing your name. So I just want to see you can kind of explain what's going on here if you can.
I started African Americans and Africans for the simple fact who are deemed the people of African Americans, they're not from Africa. And it was a call to people to check your families, find out where your families are, because a lot of us leave our homes and go to other places to get jobs and stuff. So find your family and ask them about themselves. That was the only hope. And this is what I was thinking at the time, thinking that we would do that and amalgamate ourselves to be a power on this planet. That was my thinking. That's it. I wasn't trying to make no money off of it. I wasn't trying to tell nobody they lineage or all that bullshit. I wasn't doing that. So now, and all the people you hear arguing, they weren't. I didn't see them around 10 years ago. Were there people talking about indigenous stuff back then? It was been people talking about indigenous stuff 200 years ago. We just ignored it. But since the advent of this social media, I thought if I put it out there, it would gain more people. And it has. And from what people tell me, dude, they finding these people all the time. So
Right.
I'm happy for that. But what you're talking about, these cats arguing, and that's just from one thing. They don't want to do nothing. All these cats who doing all that, they don't really do shit but rip other people, other dumbasses off who just listen to what they say and just, ooh. And if you listen to what they say, it sounds stupid. All these cats coming out, the whole world is slapping your ass in the mouth and you turn around and help them. What's that? And we love these guys. We love them. We support them. We send them airplanes, send them all around the world. That's on us. This is the kind of shit we support. I got people telling me when they babies were born, they named their kids Dr. Ben. They named their kids after Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben. This is the stuff we do. So most of the stuff that we do to ourselves. So all these cats that's bringing up my name, see, they bring up my name. They don't bring it up to me. I can easily be reached. They don't talk that shit to me because they know, I know they talking bullshit. See, the rest of the people don't, like I say, we don't listen to what they say. Oh, he sound just like Pastor. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
we don't listen to what these cats, none of them. I don't care what you say. So what are you arguing about? What, huh? What? That's what gets me like, dude, we got work to do. We got to start having a safe place for our women and children to go to. Why are brothers arguing? So you're a Greek, you're a Hebrew Israel. You'll never get together using somebody else's ideology. Damn. I mean, look, man, I'm simple. Look, if I'm outside walking down the street, I don't care where I am, I'll find the nearest tree and go pee on it.
That's right.
I don't be trying to hold. I mean, it's simple. Life is simple. Life is simple. We make it hard. And you have all these brothers, and there's so many brothers out there just lying and bullshitting to the people. And women get these dudes pussy. That's what I don't get. This is where we are. Dudes straight pimping, lying, coming up with ideas. If you thought about it, you would be like, wait a minute. They don't never give credit to the people they got it from ever. They take it, they steal what they learn, all the dumb shit that they learned from it. You don't hear me mixing Africa and America's here.
Right.
Really? You think the people over in Africa, in those little tribes over there, you think they bring you up into anything? No. You think their people left stuff for them to do. What the Negro here does, if somebody crawled from under the North Pole and told the Negro he was from a planet called Lavaza, you know what the Negro would do? He would say that. I had a brother tell me one time that he was, what are the people in Africa? The Dogons. This brother
Uh-huh.
told this brother told me he was so African, he was a Dogon. And so I said, oh, really? Can you speak some Dogon language for us? This brother wanted to beat me up. You know why? Because he was lying.
Right.
And one thing a Negro can do better than anybody is lie. Just straight lie. For no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep up confusion. We do that shit. We do that. And arrogantly too. And with malice. We try our best to be the dumbest we can be. You walk into anybody's house, 50 years and under. If you see some books there, come on, man. We don't read, we don't exchange ideas, we don't try to correct nothing, we don't do nothing. Just talk about it. Wow. Go down to City Hall and tell the motherfuckers how you look. Let the people, you ain't talking to the people in City Hall, you're talking to the people who's down there like you. These schools, we should abandon these schools 100 years ago. The people told us, hey, when you get educated by these people, you're going to be no good to yourself. This was the running theme around the community back 100 years ago. We think our kids are geniuses when they come out of school, and they're dumber when they come out of school than when they went in. Am I lying?
That's true.
You produce genius children. About time the system finished with them, they don't know they asshole from a hole in the ground. And we cool with it. Yay! My baby is the A student at Henry Clay Junior High School. And you ask those same kids, well, who was your grandmama? Huh? My grandmama was Queen Nziga from Africa. This is where we are. This is where we are, dude.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. We got all these people going at each other, and it just, man, it's getting like, it seems to me it's getting like the conscious community, because they're going at it all the time. I mean, in a little bit we're gonna be getting people names like Sarnetta and all these other Afrocentrics, because they kind of doing the same thing that he does in the Afrocentric community. Just keep
Well,
stuff
okay, so that's what I mean. Sinetter, I think he's from Dominica, Dominican Republic or something.
right. Yep.
How? So this is all I ask people. If I went over to Dominican Republic and started putting up pictures of dead Dominican Republicans, people who were killed in Dominican Republic for Haiti and stuff, what do you think those people will do to me?
Oh, you finished, man.
You know what we do over here? What the Negro does over here? Make the person who does that shit make them live a lavish lifestyle.
Right. Right. Right.
Really? You think
Right.
what's his name? The brother with the school. Now you see how
Uh,
everybody you
Umar
see how
Johnson.
yeah. So you see how everybody's dogging him out now, right?
Right.
Well, why dog him out? You're the one who put him where he is.
That's right. That's right. And Lamone's. I hope I ain't butchering your name, Lamone Jr. He says it's all facts what you're saying. So, you're not alone in your assessment.
No, I mean, listen, dude. Listen, man. You got a lot of cats out here that are genius. To them, the word genius like it means second grade or something. Man, you got some brothers and sisters out here doing some research. I'll tell you who you want to listen to. Here's a because we want to get into solutions after this. Some things we
Right.
can do that change the lives for all of us, and it's some simple shit.
Mm-hmm.
Nurses, nurses. Listen to somebody who's going to tell you you can't walk from your car to a nurse's refrigerator and go in her refrigerator and grab something out. She'll slap the shit out of you. Wash your hands. Talk to people who got some basic common sense. Nurses are normally those people. There's a whole lot of other people that do it too, but just off the top of my head, nurses come to mind. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Also, uh, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but
Oh, we
nurses.
trying to find out people who we can learn a lot from. That's
Yeah.
all.
You got some brothers and sisters out here, man. Ever since I came out with this African Americans ain't Africans, when I first came out, this 16-year-old person contacted me and was with it. This dude right today is 27 years old, and this
Mm-hmm.
brother is putting out some stuff without because he's digging. So he goes. So he said, what do I learn? I'm like, well, what college are you near? Well, I'm in. I tell them, well, go to the universities. Go pull up that old data that they have, and they'll tell you. Go back to the 1820s. They'll tell you what was going on in that area at the universities. There's because we talk about some of the things that the people here have done, and I forgot this, and man, I pulled it up the other day, and I was like, oh man, uh, in Indianapolis, they have this place called Crown 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 Mound, something mound. It's a
Mm-hmm.
cemetery. It's a cemetery, but it's a mound. Dude,
Right.
it would blow you away. These are
Mm.
the things that are right and are missed that we don't even talk about. We don't even care. You
Hey,
got
how far is that? How far is that from Cahokia?
it's Cahokia is in St. Louis. This
Right.
is this is in Indianapolis.
How far is they are they from apart? I ain't never. I've been to St. Louis, but I ain't never been to Indianapolis.
I think about 300 miles.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
300 miles, I think.
Right.
I,
Now I ain't never been to Indianapolis, so I don't know much about it. But I have been to St. Louis. Unfortunately, I was too ignorant to know anything about Cahokia.
ooh, man, that's a cold spot. And this is what I'm saying. Places places like that, when we get on those places, when we go to those places, something happens to us. I don't know, all the science and stuff behind it, but something is activated. You feel,
Mm-hmm.
you look at yourself different. You think different, you know? when you go to these places, especially, yeah. So St. Louis to Indianapolis is 242 miles.
Okay. That's about
So,
3, 4 hours.
yeah.
4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so all up in there in St. Louis, Indianapolis, Ohio, Illinois, they got
Mhm.
monuments up there that would blow you away, just like they have everywhere. We're crowded into these cities, and then we think the people who are in these places are backcountry, hokey. Like people who don't live in the South think of people in the South as slow. I met
Right.
I met some of the most intelligent people in the world, and they barely speak English. They
Mm.
speak their language. You have to strain just to understand what they're saying because they're trying to talk to you, and they'll tell you, dude, man, do you know you can go to some places here in Alabama and they got people living. If you walked in there, you would think you were in the 1600s.
Mm. Right.
You got people around in America like that, but we're so into the city. We think the Hollywood sign and the Walk of
Mhm.
Fame is some places we want to go. We won't even think about, what, we getting our ass kicked in these cities. We're losing all our money. Let's go down to these places and build places where we can live.
Right. And another thing about them, about when you was talking about these places in Illinois and Indiana and places like that, this is the Midwest. So we already know that the Native Americans didn't build all that stuff because they'll tell you they didn't. So, that's what I'm trying to say. What does that tell you?
Well, you know what, the Native Americans, I mean, and this is what I'm saying. A lot of this stuff falls on us because we don't really try to know anything. So, I'm talking to this sister and she's Native American. I'm like, stop calling yourself Native American. And
Right.
this is what I mean, how trained we are. We won't even see a mistake in something and change it. We'll know a mistake for, like, a sister I grew up with. So since I've been saying African American, she was, oh no, we African, African. Now she's starting to come over. But damn, you've been teaching your kids they African all this time. So what are you doing? You knew the truth, but you wanted to talk that bullshit. What are you doing?
Hmm.
What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Dave B said there's a lot of great pyramids in Illinois. Okay. Dang. Are you from Illinois, Dave B? If so, man, one of these days I'm gonna check you out then so you can show me some of these places. And like I said, I ain't never really been to the Midwest. I've been to Chicago, but I've never, I was only there for a weekend, so I didn't, spend very much time doing much up there. But I've seen a lot of the mounds and stuff here in the South, because this is where I am and this is where I was born and raised. And I've been to most of the states down here. But when you get to the Midwest and the Northwest, I'm not very familiar with this. So it's good that people know about these things. So I know who to contact when I need to when I want to go see these places.
Oh man, um, everywhere. So this is what I say, when we get out into the country, to get off into the land. You see stuff that you be like, God damn, these people wasn't playing. So I'm up in North Carolina one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things they do in North Carolina a lot is that race car driving stuff. So I'm leaving Charlotte and I'm on the freeway. I'm heading south, and it's just the freeway's a parking lot. So,
Right.
so, so I realized that, oh, there's a race up ahead, or one is being over. So I get off the freeway and I'm thinking, since I'm from Los Angeles, I'm just going to ride on the side of the freeway till the opening opens up. The roads in North Carolina don't go in a straight path. So I got lost. The best
Oh
thing that
yeah,
ever,
I can tell you about that. Being a born and raised here in Charlotte, this is one of the hardest places. I'm telling you. Although it's not as big as a place like Los Angeles. It is one of the hardest places to learn because you and I was born and raised here, and I still get mixed up here because there are a lot of streets that it might be one name, and then you go about 4 or 5 blocks, the name of the street has changed. You might have a street that stops, comes to a dead end, and then pick up 3 miles away the same street.
Right.
You know, and everything is curvy in here. See, like in Los Angeles, to me, Los Angeles is probably the easiest city to learn that I ever been in because everything in Los Angeles either runs north to south or east to west. You rarely see curved streets or anything like that in Los Angeles. That's why I mean, yeah, Charlotte can be a quagmire trying to learn it.
So I'm driving, and so I get lost, and I've
Mm-hmm.
come up upon this little town. And if anybody has ever seen the film Lord of the Rings, where those people were living like in the earth, you had doors on the outside of little mounds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That what was happening. I was seeing that, and it was a little town like that.
Man, come on, man! I know exactly what you're talking about because that's when we went to eat, right?
No, I
You were
was
here. I remember one time you was here and we went. I took you to a place, little hick town outside of Charlotte, and we were seeing those type of things. You
right.
know,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. These are different places all over the country that is set up. You don't have to build a house like they build a house. You can just stick to your indigenous ways if you knew that was your stuff. We have all kind of things that we can do for ourselves. But we act like we need these people, and you see they just using us up like toilet paper for real. We're not being viable.
right?
We're not being important. All we are is important to them for however how long they need us. And you're seeing that the people with this whole coronavirus thing. Imagine the amount of money that people have lost in these
Oh,
retirements.
oh.
These people retire.
Something wrong on my end, Buck. I need to get out and come back in.
Okay, imagine uh, what we're losing for this coronavirus. I mean, in retirements for all these elderly people, these baby boomers who are retired. What's happening to their stuff? And these are things we have to we better know about because in the future when it comes up, so how they said wear masks and we all wore masks, whatever they said, not all of us wore it, but the majority of us did. Don't go outside. How can somebody tell you not to come outside and you do it? I know cats that I ain't coming. I ain't going outside. But you need fresh air and sunlight. He said not to come out. This is where we are, y'all. This is where we are. So you in a whole part of the world, a whole part of thinking, a whole part of thinking that we better know about. We better pay attention to what's happening to us
Right.
because we would be out of here and nobody would even miss you. You see, the Chinese can't stand you. I don't know how we fill up their restaurants, and they ain't serving you that orange chicken. Come on, y'all. You see how they eat. You used to eat squirrel, raccoon, all kind of stuff. You don't even eat your own indigenous foods no more. What do you think they're putting in the food? You think at these Asian restaurants what's in your communities, they're feeding you how they would feed themselves? We ain't even thinking about it. We on some other shit. So this is what I'm saying. A whole bunch of this stuff that's going on, it's on us, cuz. It's on us. We all that excuse,
Right.
we have no excuses. Anybody that comes up with excuse, I let them know that. We have no they doing this or no, you're letting it happen. How are you gonna tell somebody, say somebody's doing something to you, but you're 40% of the army?
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible? How is that possible? How is everybody all how
If you barely gave me a name though, that would even be better. Thanks. And also, I know we've been on here for about an hour and a half, so I don't want to go too long, keep it on here too long, Indigenous one. I guess we can go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and start closing it down. Could you any more solutions that you want to talk about? Before we close out here.
yeah, here's a couple. Like I said, move back to the towns where your people are from, because them towns are dead. And the way your people stuff, you can do a whole new way of plumbing, a whole new way of doing the solar. Why aren't we hooking up solar? Why aren't we investing in being solar people to get off these power grids? Because they're gonna shut
Right.
down. How come we're not thinking forward to be ready for that? Uh, Start inventing stuff again. Start producing stuff and trading with the world. I said 10 years ago, let's do a solar lawnmower, and there you go. Oh, you do it. We can't. We always think only one person can do something. When everybody else uses 100,000 million people to do something to screw you up, we always think one person can do it. That's where we are in 2020.
That's right. That's
This is
right. Because
and these are people with means. These are people who should know better. We always the people who you think that can help us, they're not the ones. The people that work
mhm,
for them, they're not gonna work for themselves. They're gonna work for them because they've already invested time in them. So if you have
right,
people 50 years old, they're not gonna invest in you because they invested in boss, and boss is gonna pay them a pension. So they trying to get that. So forget them. Talk to these little youth because they got some ideas and stuff that's totally different from the people above them.
you're
So there's
right.
all kind of stuff that we can do. Water. We ain't got no springs around here where we can bottle our own water. Yeah, we do, but we don't support each other. That's where we are. So until these ideologies thing change and the way we think about ourselves change, you on your way to the Georgia Guidestones.
Right. hmm Right. Right. Okay. Anything else you want to say in closure?
Listen, find your families, find where you search through your mother's mother and your father's mother. Find out who they were, what they did, what they are about, what part of the country they were from, the land. Because when you find out about time and how you're not a person, you're really a stream of energy, a stream of energy in here. I'm gonna have a brother come on here talk about time. All this is, we just keep getting caught in this time loop. So that's
Right.
why that's why you said earlier, how come we're in these ideologies that hasn't worked for 80 years? And this is the example I like to give. You
Mm.
always ask a sister, have you ever allowed a guy to move in with you? She'll say, sure. How long did it take you for you to understand that he wasn't going to be helping you? Early, three months, 2 months. So when you found out that you guys couldn't make it, what happened? I got rid of him.
hmm
Put him out. Right? I mean, it's happened to me when I was confused, didn't know anything. How come we believe in stuff that never happens? We just believe in it. Why we believe in Jesus and there's never been any indication, none, that that's real. But we keep
Right.
trying to breathe life into it.
That's right. I agree with that. I say the same thing about white supremacy. I don't think there's no such thing as white supremacy. I think what happened was Europeans might have introduced us to that, but we the ones that keep it alive.
We the ones that keep it. We won't. I mean, we won't even be nice to each other, brother. We have gotten. If you it was the hate you was talking about earlier, the male female that hate thing that they're doing, both of them. It ain't just
Right.
one, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Really, y'all? This is when a man and woman gets together and they're connected and focused on each other. What comes out of that? A new life form.
Mm-hmm.
We're killing that, but by the way we act towards each other. So if you thinking about your grandmother, and most grandmothers, great grandmothers used to have 10, 15, 20 kids, and people throw their nose up at it, but you have to remember they had a whole bunch of land they have to work, and they needed hands. And that's what we need today, hands. Everybody got to get busy. Everybody.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well. With that, we're gonna be closing out here in a little bit. I'd like to thank the Indigenous One for coming on to the show, and I'd like to thank all the people in the chat room, and all thanks for the people for the new information. And I before we close out, I just wanted to say that and I'm gonna be repetitious, and I'm even being repetitious, even telling you that I'm gonna be repetitious. Uh, we got to get back to nature. If we don't, that's gonna be it for us. I mean, we can't be out here arguing with each other, and we can't be out there, being lazy. Because I really do think that one of the problems that we have is that we don't want to be responsible for anything. We don't want to be responsible for anything, and that's why a lot of these brothers and sisters over here calling themselves African, because they don't have to be be responsible for Africa because they're over here. They don't have to be responsible here because they're putting everything on America. So that's what I was saying. And thank you, Sheba Lower Indigenous. Appreciate you too. With that, unless Indigenous One got anything else that he just thought of, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Thank you, America, for listening tonight. Indigenous One, I'm gonna let you close.
Get with your families. Start talking about, start proving to them. The best way I know how to do it is just smash their ideology. Smash it. Because it'll stick with them. So like
Right.
with Christians, I smash it. All that. No, just we know the Lord later for that. That has got more of us more messed up than anything. Be honest with them, but get them to think. Get them to think. Ask them questions. When you ask them questions, they have to think about what you say, because normally people get mad. I mean, I get cussed out all the time if I just ask a simple question, because they know it's something that, damn, that don't make no sense, but you believe it. So they get mad, so they don't have to talk to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Come another way, because we can't. If another generation of this, you see where we going.
Right.
Another generation of this, and I don't know y'all. So all hands on deck. Find your families. Love one another. Be nice to one another. Conversate with one another. Ask questions. Be sensible. Men, love and protect your women. Women, love and educate your children.
All right. Thank you for being on the show, Indigenous One. And I like to thank America. And the reason why I say America, I don't like to say. I know a lot of people call us Americans. I say America because in when you look up that definition of American in that 1828 dictionary, after it gives you and tells you that it was the copper colored people, after that it says, but now applies to Europeans born in America. So knowing history, I know that American, that's a European. We're not Americans. We are America because we came from her soul, from the soul of America, which from the soil or soul of America. So that's why I say America instead of American. And with that, thanks everybody for tuning in, and wait. I'll be back again with another episode of Mind Side of the Moon. And sorry that I've been gone this long. Thank you, folks.